we're gonna be able to do that. Quick pop-up question. Do y'all think that in situations that our love for our children kind of keeps us in a lot of these relationships?
Yes.
Like our love for the children.
Yes.
Might not love that motherfucker no more. But I love our children. Keep us in it. What y'all think about that? Rissa, I see you responding. What you think about that? Do I love our children?
Me and you both know how that goes. Well, I mean, listen, I'm your sister, so we already know, like, that is just something that we both have probably, experienced, with our parents and everything. You just stick stuff out just because you want to just do it for your kids. But I think like that's BS personally, because at the end of the day, why suffer? Because the kids get older. they don't care. I mean, not to say that they don't care, but it's kind of like they get to a place where it's like you're basically living a lie, and I don't want to do that. I can never do that. I think honesty is the best route, even when it comes to the children. Yeah. So
and I would say real quick, right? Like before I go to everybody else, like me and Matt, big fan of like paternity court and divorce court and stuff like that. Like we dive and stuff like that. One of the things that I always hear when you hear the children speak, because I know we're addressing this from the parents' perspective, but one of the things I always hear when I hear the children speak on stuff like this, like, yes, they care. Like the idea of the nuclear family, yes, they care. But when you got kids who really, really care about their parents' happiness, because I've heard a lot of people in their older age speak on this, they don't like to see you doing that suffering neither now. Them kids don't like to see their father being involved when they know their mother is not moving a certain way. They don't like to see their mother suffering when they see their father not moving a certain way neither. So I know we typically address this from the parents' point of view, but we do got to understand that if you ever get a time to look or talk to children who've experienced this, they don't want to see their parents just stick something out for that neither. Like that idea of just staying together for me is stupid to a lot of the children though. Now, young kids don't understand it. I'm talking about once people have grown to have the understanding, most people actually don't actually want that to happen.
Especially, it's damaging either way, but it's really damaging from what I'm seeing from the kids that they've seen the life when things were good and they've seen the transition. Because some kids get born into it where they never saw the transition and they may look at it as, it's normal. But some kids, when they saw the happiness time, they saw we going out camping, picnics. And then they saw that transition to now it's being bad. Now I'm seeing a different movement. They really get affected by it because they have something to compare it to.
Right.
So, Matt, go ahead and answer the question since you're speaking. You think a lot of people out here, I love our children is what keep us in these situations a lot sometimes? Most of the time?
Oh, most definitely. 100%. I think people starting to get away from that, but I still think that's very relevant. That's still something that happens all the time, especially with the first kid. Maybe after people they done left their first baby mom or their first husband, they typically get used to this is what they typically come to acceptance, like how you speak of acceptance. But that first child you have for a lot of persons, that's the hardest one.
Most definitely.
You still have that, and it go by with something else me and you always speak of, and me and Caprice have a lot of talks about this, where we speak on people having that fairy tale Disney ending. That goes because that's really the first time that's shattered. Where you have to split up the family because that's that first time that's shattered. And it makes you reevaluate everything. And then typically after that, some people still end up going through it later on in life, but that first one is always the hardest. That's why we always make the thing too. That first baby daddy, a lot of times he can always come back. A lot of times they always got some access to that woman. That first one. A lot of time, not all the time, of course, but that's pretty much what I want to say about it.
Izzy, what you think about that? Do you think our love for our children kind of can keep us in a trap sometimes? Sometimes we stay only because of the kids. What you think about this?
I think it's either 50-50. Like, I think sometimes, like, yes, like, I guess parents that are like, really trying to stick it out for their kids, they do exist. But I think on the other half, like, a lot of the times, it could be just like, they're using that as an excuse for, their attachment issues, or like, I guess like making like the dysfunctional function work, because this would mean that you would have to literally like start over again. And a lot of parents, they've grown, used to like the chaos, of everything. And even when the kids are like grown up, I hear a lot of parents say, "Oh, we're staying together for the kids." Well, the kids we're not kids anymore. Like, we're not even in the house, So at that point, like, what are you basing this off of? And I think
just habit now. It just habit now.
Right, it's habit now. You're used to it. You're used to, you're used to like the environment. You're used to like the bitching and moaning. You're used to like someone like leaving the light. You're just used to like all like the dramatics that annoyed you at first, but you've grown used to it even after the kids. And now you're older. You can't see yourself being like in the dating market. Maybe because you like because you used all your money or all your assets towards your family. So now you feel like a depleted individual. So it's like, at that point, it's like, well, I might as well just get used to the dysfunction. I don't have kids, so I can't really say that, I can't really say it based off of like what I felt through, but this is just like, me like working with different families and seeing like, their, I guess, examples.
And you made a great point, Izzy. I love that point you made about people being used to, the pain and everything, because that kind of hits back what I was. Yeah, that's a great way to sum it up, because that kind of also hit back on the few points we made today, like when I said about the not respecting the person but having love for a person too. So sometimes you may not respect it, but you also can grow used to that life that you built with that person. And even if you don't respect them, you still wouldn't leave, because when you leave somebody, that is a lot, your life pattern shifts. So a lot of people do get scared of that as well. Even though they may not love the person, they don't want their life to shift. So
yeah, it's way harder to start over than to just deal with like the shit that you've been dealing with.
And if we're keeping it real, I think that's the confusing mentality, that when people love to have these conversations about like how older people do it versus younger people do it. I think there's a lot of older people in relationships that they've been fell out of love with their partner. But because it's been so much time and habit that's been developed, they don't walk away because of the habit, and because they know they're too damn old to be talking about they getting out here and restarting. So a lot of times when people be challenging, oh, they just battle, they just work it out. No, that nigga just lazy and afraid. That's all that is.
Exactly.
I don't think that's a better thing. I think they just lazy and afraid to restart. But I have met people who've gotten remarried at 50. So I mean, like, I think you do yourself a disservice to stick around because of habit.
Right.
And you don't really rock with that person. There's a lot of people, they don't sleep in the room together, same bed together. They just with each other because of the habit, and they just keep up a face and tradition in front of the children and all that other stuff like that. But a lot of people, they ain't rocking with each other, they together.
Yeah.
And it's just built off habit. Go ahead, Matt.
And that also goes into, like, just speaking to a lot of women lately, and when I was watching the KS show a lot of times too, when you hear a lot of women speak, that's also playing a role why a lot of women don't want to get married at all, because it does come with a stigma if it don't work out. And that's a lot of people are afraid of too. So a lot of women, it's not that I don't love this person, or it's not like they don't want to be married. They don't want to get married and know it's the chance of it may fail. And especially with 80% of women filing for divorces, it is a stigma where they look at the women as, why couldn't you make it work? They look at the guy like your leadership is in question. So that also plays the fact.
Yeah, it's on both sides. It's on both sides.
Yeah, it's on both sides.
Because they look at the man to lead it, but then they look at woman as the glue to hold it together. So they look at it as both of y'all just failed.
Exactly. So you got people not wanting to get divorced for that, and then you got people now not wanting to be married at all because they know it's the chance it may not work out. And you got to think too, if you had a big marriage and you invite all these people there, y'all celebrating, you got to now tell the people, they look at
Imagine if you had a wedding, you had damn near 130 people show up. Imagine now having to send that message saying, we getting a divorce.
Divorce.
And then what's crazy? And then what's crazy is most of the time. What's crazy is a lot of times, especially as the man, I don't know how it is for a female. You may be okay with the divorce, but you know what keeps it relevant? Every time somebody see you, I'm sorry about that, man. You don't tell me. I don't even want to think about that shit. Yep. They come and hugging you, man. Man, I'm sorry. What happened to you, bro? It actually makes it seem
because everybody making it seem like you so hurt and damaged, not even realizing that y'all been going through y'all discourse so long. Both of y'all, and this was funny. A lot of times, both of y'all already know it's over.
Right.
Yeah.
And you just sticking around, so people they'll think you might be hurt, but it's like, really, you ain't even damaged. Like you could have said, yo, this been 10 years, but y'all both knew this shit was over at year 6.
Come on,
and y'all spent the last 4 years, y'all know this shit was over. But for whatever reasons, y'all just kept it going. But you knew it was over.
Exactly.
And just to add on to that, as y'all were talking, one part that wasn't mentioned is a lot of times, a lot of people stay together because of finances. Like, I don't want to do these bills by myself. I can't do these bills by myself. Like we've been going half and half, or better yet, you've been paying all the bills. I'm able to keep my money in my pocket, and so now to leave you means I got to do this by myself. So a lot of times people stick around, right? So a lot of times they don't walk away because of that. They choose to suffer and stay together because they don't want to know what it feels like to actually take the leap of faith and see what to see if things would possibly be different if you stepped out of it. But for me, I can't suffer. So
and another thing is too, people leave marriages, and a lot of times people don't become happier a lot of times as well. It's not necessarily saying you're going to get better, because a lot of times, especially if you got together at an early age, you're tailor-made for each other a lot of times. You know, y'all two done built each other, but y'all only can work with somebody that's similar to the person you've been with. Especially them girls that got in a relationship at 18, 19, 20, and they've been with them 10, 12 years. They can only deal with a guy like that now. That guy can only deal with a guy that's like that.
Wait a minute. I beg to differ that because, I was going to say, because I've been married. I would have been married for
a lot of times.
Right. I was about to say, because I would have been married for like 15 years. And when I met my husband, we met in high school, but I didn't get married till I was 20. And now I'm coming out of it. I don't want nothing like that. Like nothing. I don't want when I tell you nothing. I want a brand new experience. But I guess it all depends on like who it is.
But the want isn't what I'm challenging, because a lot of times you could want something and then when you actually get it, don't even like it.
Well, I need something different.
Because it's a perspective. You can't fully say it's inaccurate for you because you haven't went through the whole process yet either. So until you get out there, get on the process, then we can say, okay, is it accurate or not? You know.
Well, I'm telling you, I need something different.
And when I say somebody like that's tailor-made for them, it may be certain factors about the person that you may want to change, but a lot of times they end up with somebody that's very similar. They try to eliminate those habits that they can't live with. But
I can't.